All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into something called natural hygiene. It's a pretty radical philosophy from a writer named Herbert M. Shelton. And trust me, it's going to turn everything you think you know about medicine completely on its head.
So let's just start with this one question, because it really gets to the very core of natural hygiene. It asks us to consider a pretty startling possibility. What if we've been looking at sickness all wrong? I mean, what if the very symptoms we rush to eliminate are actually the body's best attempts to heal itself?
Yeah, that kind of thinking? It led Shelton to some, let's just say, fiery conclusions. He argued that modern medicine, for all its fancy technology, was still stuck in superstition. He claimed it might have swapped out exorcising demons for attacking germs, but the fundamental mindset of fighting an external enemy was exactly the same.
Okay, so to really get where he's coming from with that critique, we first need to look at the one core idea that just flips the entire script on modern medicine.
So, the foundation for this whole thing is called the law of vitality. The idea is actually super simple, but it's also really profound. Life, the living body, is always the active force. Always. And that means all the external stuff, whether it's a drug, a food, or even a cold plunge, it's all passive. It doesn't actually do anything to you.
And here's how that plays out in the real world. Think about it. We're always taught that a medicine acts on the body, right? Well, the hygienic view flips this completely, arguing the drug is passive. It's your body that actively recognizes it as a foreign substance, often a poison, and works like crazy to expel it. So that effect you feel, that's your body in action, fighting to get it out.
Okay, so if we accept that the body is always this active, intelligent force, well, that leads us to another huge idea. Our entire definition of disease must be wrong. So get this. Instead of seeing disease as some external enemy that attacks the body, natural hygiene sees disease as the body's own healing effort. It's a purposeful, protective process. From this perspective, the symptoms aren't the problem. They are the solution in action. And there's a name for this core principle. It's called orthopathy, which literally just means right action. It asserts that the body's responses are never, ever wrong or random. No way. Even when they're super intense, they are always purposeful, always aimed at one thing: restoring health.
And this idea just reframes everything we think of as symptoms. A fever isn't the sickness. It's your body cranking up the heat to create an environment that germs absolutely hate. Inflammation? Think of it like the emergency crew rushing to an injury. And that lack of appetite? That's just your body being incredibly wise, saying, hey, stop digging, we've got to repair.
All right, but that raises a big question, doesn't it? If disease is a healing process, what exactly is the body healing from? Well, this brings us to another pretty radical claim, that all sickness stems from one single cause.
And here's the pathway he lays out. It all starts with what Shelton called enervating habits. Basically, anything that drains our vital nerve energy. This leads to a state of enervation, or just chronic exhaustion. Now, when the body is that worn out, the organs of elimination can't keep up. And this leads to the final stage, toxemia, a state of systemic self-poisoning from all that retained metabolic waste.
For Shelton, it all boils down to this one state: toxemia. This, he claimed, is the one true cause. So every single named disease, from a common cold to something way more serious, is simply the body's unique attempt to overcome this one single underlying state of toxicity.
So, if you follow that logic, if the problem isn't 1,000 different diseases, but just one underlying cause, well, then the solution isn't 1,000 different treatments. It has to be a single, comprehensive alternative.
And this is a really crucial point. Hygiene doesn't propose a cure. It proposes a way of life that's designed to remove the cause of the problem. The goal is just to provide the body with the conditions it needs to do its own healing work. Things like proper food, rest, clean air, and emotional balance.
Now, a huge part of this is fasting. But again, it's not framed as a treatment at all. Instead, it's considered the ultimate form of physiological rest. By pausing digestion, the body frees up an immense amount of energy to redirect toward its most urgent jobs: cleansing, repairing, and healing.
And the philosophy makes a really sharp distinction here. Fasting is the normal physiological process of living off your stored reserves. Starvation, on the other hand, is a totally different ballgame. It's a pathological process that only begins after those reserves are truly gone.
This core conviction is just captured so perfectly by Shelton. He's describing a deep trust in the body's wisdom, a belief that health isn't something you have to chase with pills, but that it's a natural state that just emerges on its own once the obstacles are finally removed.
So in the end, natural hygiene really isn't just a set of rules about diet or rest. It's a challenge to fundamentally reconsider our relationship with our own bodies, to stop fighting them and start cooperating with them. And it leaves us with this powerful question to ponder. What would it actually look like to live in true harmony with the laws of our own biology?